When a man reaches the point where he has nothing left, no money, no direction, no energy to keep pretending that he is okay, and a rabbi sits next to him and says just one thing, you expect it to be something grand, a dramatic revelation, a secret that no one else knows. But what this rabbi said was so simple that the man almost got up and walked away. And what happened after that moment is the most important lesson I will share on this channel to date. I know this title sounds like a self-help story wrapped in spirituality. I understand the skepticism, and that's exactly why I'm going to ask you to stay, not for the story itself, but for what Kabbalah reveals about the principle behind it, a principle that has over 2,000 years of observation and consistent application, a principle that does not promise results within a defined time frame, nor guarantees that everything will resolve the way you expect. More than that, when genuinely understood and practiced, it transforms a person's relationship with their own life in a way that no external circumstance can undo. Tell me in the comments before continuing, have you ever reached a true breaking point? A moment when the question was no longer how to improve, but whether it still made sense to keep trying? Write it down honestly, because this video is for those who have been there or who are there now. And today's teaching was made exactly for that moment. If you are not yet part of this community, subscribe now and activate the bell, because what this channel offers is not spirituality for easy days. It is wisdom for the days when the ground disappears. The story I'm going to tell you is a parable, the kind that circulates in Jewish study circles, passed from teacher to student because it carries a truth that rational arguments cannot convey with the same depth. Imagine a middle-aged man who had built a business over 15 years. Not a huge business, but solid, respectable, enough to raise a family with dignity. And then came the losses, one after another, in the way that sometimes life accumulates difficulties without leaving space for recovery between them. A partner who broke the trust, a debt that grew faster than the ability to pay it, an illness in the family that consumed the existing reserves, and finally the business closed down. He went to the rabbi of his community one Thursday afternoon, not with a question, not with a request for blessing or financial advice, but with that look of someone who has reached the end of himself, the look of someone who is no longer seeking a solution because he no longer believes that a solution exists for him specifically. The rabbi received him. He remained silent for a long moment after the man finished speaking. Then he just said this, "Tell me 3 things that are still true." The man looked at him, not understanding. 3 things that are still true, the rabbi repeated, with the patience of someone who is in no hurry at all. Not things you want to be true, not things that were true in the past. 3 things that are true right now, today, at this moment. The man was silent for a long time. Then he said slowly, "I am breathing." Pause. "My youngest daughter still hugs me when I get home." Longer pause. "I still know how to do what I know how to do. No one has taken that away from me." The rabbi nodded slowly. "So you have ground. You don't have a roof yet, but you have ground, and no one builds from the roof." This story remains because it does not describe a miracle. It describes something rarer and more real than a miracle, the recovery of ground when everything else has been lost. And Kabbalah has a precise name for what the rabbi did at that moment. It is a profound teaching on why this specific practice works when nothing else does. The name of what the rabbi did is Hispashtut b'chiyut hanimtza, Hitpashtut b'chiyut hanimtza, expanding within the life that exists. Not within the life you want, not within the life you had, within the life that exists right now, with all that it has and with all that it has lost. In the Kabbalistic structure of reality, there is a concept called yesh, being, existence, what is present. And there is the opposite concept, ayin, the non-being, the void, the potential not yet manifested. Most people in severe spiritual or financial crisis do something very specific. They move toward the ayin, not the creative ayin that Kabbalists describe as the womb from which all creation emerges, the ayin of collapse, where attention is completely fixed on what no longer exists, on what has been lost, on what has not yet returned. And when attention is completely on the ayin of collapse, the yesh, what still exists, what is still real, what still sustains, becomes invisible. It does not disappear, but it ceases to be perceived. And what is not perceived cannot be the starting point for any reconstruction. What the rabbi did with that simple question, "Tell me 3 things that are still true," was to bring the man back to the yesh. Anchor attention on what exists instead of fixating on what does not exist. And this movement, this crossing back from the ayin of collapse to the yesh of the present, is what Kabbalah calls techiyat hamet, the resurrection of the dead, not in the literal sense, in the spiritual sense of a consciousness that was dead to the present and that returns to inhabit it. But the teaching goes deeper, because the rabbi's question was not just psychological, it was not just a trick to divert focus from the negative. She was anchored in a Kabbalistic principle that the wise called aviyut, density, thickness, the quality of the vessel. In Kabbalah, the capacity to receive abundance, in any form, at any level, directly depends on the density, solidity, and reality of the kli, of the vessel. A vessel that is completely dematerialized, that has lost contact with the yesh, with the concrete, with what is real and present, is a vessel without aviyut, without thickness. And a vessel without thickness cannot retain anything that is deposited in it. This explains a phenomenon that many people observe without being able to name. Why is it that sometimes when the situation improves externally, the improvement does not stick? Why does money that comes go away quickly? Why do opportunities that appear not develop? Often the answer is not in the external circumstances. It lies in the aviyut of the vessel, in the being's capacity to retain what it receives. And the way to reconstruct aviyut, to restore the density and solidity of the vessel, starts exactly where the rabbi began, with the concrete, with what is real, with the yesh that still exists even when the ayin seems to dominate everything. Three things that are still true. I am breathing. My daughter hugs me. I know what I know how to do. This is the ground. This is the yesh. This is the starting point of the aviyut that will sustain everything that comes after. There is a second element in this story that I want to explore. It is the rabbi's response when the man finally said the three things. The rabbi did not say, "Very well, now do this and that." He did not give a plan. He did not give a list of actions. He said, "You have ground." No one builds from the roof. That phrase, "no one builds from the roof," captures a principle that the Kabbalists articulated through the concept of hishtalshalut, the chain of emanations, the sequence from above to below by which the divine light descends into the material world. And the way this principle applies to human life is precise. Things manifest in order, from the foundation upwards, from the root to the branch, from the seed to the fruit. When a person who has lost everything immediately tries to rebuild from the highest level, to regain the status, the financial volume, the external recognition they had, they are trying to build from the roof. And the roof without a foundation cannot stand. The ground is the yesh. The ground is the three true things. The ground is the restored aviyut. And the construction must start from the ground, not because the roof doesn't matter, but because it will truly exist only when the foundation is solid. The Kabbalists called this principle yesod, foundation, base, the ninth attribute in the tree of life, the sephira that connects the higher planes with the plane of manifestation. Yesod is the channel through which the abundance of the higher planes descends to malchut, to the kingdom, to the physical plane. And without a solid yesod, the abundance that descends does not arrive. It disperses along the way. Restoring the yesod is the work of the ground, and the ground begins with the three true things. Now I will give you the practice. The concrete practice that arises directly from this story and this teaching. It is simple. It is accessible to anyone in any situation. And it is precisely because it is simple that it has the power it has. Because complexity in moments of deep crisis is more of an obstacle than a help. The practice is called shalosh emet, the three truths. And it is done in three different moments, with three different orientations. The first moment is in the morning, upon waking. Before checking your phone, before thinking about the day, before anything else, you close your eyes for a minute and identify three things that are true right now. Not tomorrow, not when everything gets better, now. They can be the same three things every day for a while, and that's okay. The exercise is not about creativity. It is about anchoring, about bringing awareness back to the yesh, to what exists, to the ground. And you pronounce these three things out loud, even if in a very low voice, even if just whispered, because the voice that declares the yesh in an audible voice has an anchoring power that silent thought does not possess. Sound creates reality in the material plane in a way that thought alone does not create. The Kabbalists called this power dibur, speech, and considered it one of the most powerful spiritual forces available to human beings. The dibur of the yesh, the audible declaration of what is still real and true, is one of the most direct ways to restore aviyut in the vessel. The second moment of the shalosh emet practice is in the middle of the day, especially in moments when anxiety about the future, the weight of what has been lost, or the fatigue of effort without visible results begin to dominate consciousness. In these moments, and you will recognize them because they have a specific quality of suction, as if consciousness is being pulled into the ion of collapse. You stop. Not for long. You close your eyes if possible, take a deep breath, and you seek the three truths. They may be the same as in the morning. They may be three new ones that the day has revealed. But they need to be real. They need to be yesh. And after naming them internally, you add a fourth statement that is not an observed truth, but an affirmed truth. A statement of emunah, of faith that does not depend on circumstances to exist. It can be as simple as, the source that created what I have has not run out, or what was lost was not all that exists, or simply, yesh makor, there is a source. This fourth statement is the movement from yesh to or, from anchoring in the present to opening to what may come. It is the yesod being built on the ground of the three truths. The third moment of the practice is at the end of the day before sleeping. And here the structure changes slightly, because at the end of the day we are not just anchoring the present. We are doing what the Kabbalists called Seder Halayla, the order of the night. The way you close a day determines the quality of the soil in which the next day will plant. In the Seder Halayla of the Shalosh Emet practice, you identify, at the end of the day, three true things that were new that day. Not necessarily great achievements. Three new things that exist now and did not exist in the morning. A conversation that happened, an idea that arose, a difficulty that was overcome, a small opening that appeared where everything seemed closed. This is not performative gratitude. It is not the list of blessings that sounds nice but that the person does not truly feel. It is tracking the new yesh. It is a training of perception to see the or chadash, the new light, that each day produces even when the day has been difficult. Because each day produces or chadash, without exception. What varies is whether our perception is calibrated to see it, or if it is so fixed on the ion of collapse that the or chadash passes by invisible. And upon finishing this nightly record of the three new truths, you surrender the day. Not with resignation, with the active confidence of bitachon, of one who has done their part, tracked the yesh, declared the or, and now trust that the source that operates while you sleep will do the part that is beyond your reach. Let me tell you something about this teaching that seems important to name honestly. The practice of Shalosh Emet will not resolve a financial crisis overnight. It will not close a lost deal or recover money that has gone away. It is not a ritual of instant prosperity, and any teaching that presents itself as such is not being honest with you. What it does is more fundamental than that. It restores the kli. It rebuilds the aviyut. It returns to the vessel the ability to retain what it receives, so that when the flow of shefa begins to move again, there is a channel ready to receive it. And it changes the quality of decisions. Because a person anchored in yesh, with restored aviyut, with solid yesod, that person makes different decisions than a person who is completely dissolved in the ion of collapse. They see opportunities that were previously invisible. They have access to internal resources that panic had blocked. They can act with the clarity of someone who has ground beneath them, instead of reacting with the despair of someone who is falling. And it is this change in the quality of decision, this change in who you are while acting, that creates different circumstances over time. Not the practice itself as a magic formula, but the different human being that the practice builds day by day. Tell me in the comments, are you going to try the Shalosh Emet practice? And if you are in a moment of real difficulty right now, you don't have to give details if you don't want to, but let me know if this teaching came at a time when you needed it. Because this community is not just a content channel. It is a space where wisdom meets those who need it. And sometimes the comment you write is the encouragement that someone else was waiting to read. And if you know someone who is at a true breaking point, someone who has lost a lot and has that look of someone who has reached the end of themselves, send this video to that person. Not with pressure, without expectation, just as a gesture to say, there is a rabbi who has sat next to someone exactly where you are, and what he said was simple enough to be real. A blessing for you, especially if you've made it this far in the video because you needed to, not just out of curiosity. May you find your ground. May the three true things always be accessible, even when everything else seems to have vanished. May the yesh that exists now be the foundation upon which everything yet to come can be built solidly. May no one around you need to build from the ceiling. May you be for someone what the rabbi was for that man, the presence that asks the right question at the moment when no answer seems possible. Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha. May the Eternal bless you in the ground you have and keep you as you build. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha vichuneka. May his light illuminate the yesh of your life, especially in the moments when you can only see the ayin. Yisa Adonai panav elecha veyasem lecha shalom. May the shalom that sustains rest upon your ground, whatever it may be today, the peace that does not depend on the yet non-existent roof, but exists fully where your feet are planted now. Amen and amen. In the next video, we will delve into the teaching that the Kabbalists kept for moments of greatest transformation, the relationship between your name, the letters that compose it, and the specific map of your soul's mission in this world. A very personal, very profound video that will make you look at your own identity in a way you have never considered. Activate the bell and I'll see you there. Shalom.